One-off budget sweeteners may soon be phased out. Pan-Democrats cool to possible 2022 election olive branch. And a race against time to try to free the Japanese hostage.
Good evening. Sources say the Financial Secretary will further cut down on one-off relief measures when he unveils the budget next month. That's despite another bigger-than-expected surplus expected in Zhang Zhang's blueprint.
It's quite common for the Financial Secretary to announce a larger-than-expected budget surplus. Zhang Zhang has projected a $9 billion surplus for 2014 to 2015. But several groups now expect the figure to be close to the $60 billion mark. What will that mean for the people? In his last budget speech, the Financial Secretary warned against offering one-off relief measures, citing concerns for future structural deficits given Hong Kong's ageing population. The public saw power bill subsidy cancelled, rates waived for 2 quarters instead of the full year, and public housing rents waived for a month instead of 2. According to sources, the government hopes to continue cutting down on these one-off sweeteners. In the budget to be announced next month, with the waived rents for public housing tenants possibly on the chopping block. Sources say public housing rents are already heavily subsidised, and those who are on welfare don't have to pay rents out of their own pocket anyway. So the government believes cancelling the rental waiver won't affect those who need help the most. Chairman of the Housing Authority Finance Committee, Raymond So, agrees this could be a good move, saying that it could help boost financial discipline. He said the authority has an efficient mechanism that ensures public housing tenants can apply for a waiver if they become financially tight due to special circumstances. So he believes waiving rents for people who don't need help is not a good way of handling public resources. However, there is a potential obstacle in cutting down on sweeteners: the district council elections at the end of this year. With some 750,000 households living in public rental units, it remains to be seen what stance politicians will take when their political future is at stake.
More money matters now. A report out today says the renminbi has become one of the world's most widely used currencies. But as Gerardo Silva reports, local monetary authorities still think the Hong Kong dollar's peg to the US dollar should stay in place.
Another step forward in the renminbi's race to internationalization. December figures from International Financial Transactions Agency SWIFT show that 2.17% of global payments were made in the Chinese currency. It's now become one of the 5 most widely used currencies, trailing the US dollar, the euro, the British pound and the yen, while surpassing the Canadian and Australian dollars. And with Beijing loosening controls on the currency and encouraging its use globally, it doesn't look as though the renminbi's rise will come to an end anytime soon. But what does this mean for Hong Kong's financial industry and for the future of the Hong Kong dollar's peg to the US dollar?
I think the impact that it will have on our financial institutions here is that it provides a very important source of business development for them. In serving the needs of the customers as their customers begin to diversify their balance sheets into RMB. As we have said on numerous occasions, we still think the linked exchange rate system is the best monetary policy framework for Hong Kong. And we do not see any need nor do we have any plans to change that.
On the way forward, Yoon said financial institutions in Hong Kong should become more proactive in diversifying their offer of renminbi products. That's to make sure they take advantage of the opportunities provided by the currency's rise and help bring about the next wave in the renminbi's global acceptance. Among the major steps to widen renminbi investment options and to encourage its use internationally was last year's launch of the Shanghai Hong Kong Stock Connect scheme, which allows investors on both sides of the border to trade stocks in each other's markets. Gerardo Silva, TVB News.
Pan-Democratic lawmakers have given a cool response to reports that the government will try to improve the arrangements for the 2022 chief executive election and that's aimed at winning their support for the reform package for the 2017 CE election. Stephanie Cho reports.
Government sources have revealed possible concessions for the nominating mechanism in the 2022 chief executive election. The move is expected to help sway pan-democratic lawmakers to pass the government's reform proposal for the 2017 vote later this year, something they have promised to veto. The Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong has urged pan-democrats to pocket the reform package. Tam Yu Chung of the pro-establishment party said once the step is made, improvements can be made to the system for electing the chief executive via universal suffrage. Pan-democratic lawmakers are cool to the idea.
We would like Beijing to honor the undertaking that it gave to Hong Kong people several years ago. That means we can elect the chief executive by universal suffrage in 2017. For them to tell us, or a government source to say, oh, why don't you just swallow this package, which is not universal suffrage, and then further down the road, maybe there's a chance of making further improvements. There's no way.
I don't think such rumors warrant any serious response at all. If there is anything good, I would expect the Central People's Government to come out in clearly articulated terms and engage Hong Kong people with it.
Civic Party lawmaker Dennis Kwok said if the sources are accurate, the government will have to do more. For example, address how it will ensure that the nominating committee is broadly representative in order to win the trust of the people. Still, Executive Council convener Lam Woon Kwong called for a compromise.
If the pan-democrats really veto the proposal, then the consequence would be nothing will change and nothing will happen, not only in 2017, but also in 2020, when the next legislative election comes up. Some progress is better than no progress at all.
Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, efforts to win the release of a Japanese journalist held by Islamic State militants gained urgency after a new video message was posted on the internet. It warns that Kenji Goto, and a Jordanian pilot, would be killed within 24 hours unless a female Iraqi would-be suicide bomber is freed from a prison in Jordan. Alan Buckner reports.
The video of Goto holding a picture of pilot Muat al-Kaseba is the third involving the 47-year-old veteran war journalist. It was released last night, and the deadline set is late today, Hong Kong time. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called the release of the message and the ultimatum a despicable act. He called on Jordan to cooperate in working for Goto's release. Abe once again said Japan would not give in to terrorism. Goto's mother made another emotional appeal to the Japanese leader to secure the release of her son. In Amman, Japan's deputy foreign minister continued to coordinate the hostage release efforts with Jordan. Yasuhide Nakayama, however, would not comment on the details of the talks. Hundreds of people demonstrated in the streets of Amman, demanding that authorities meet the demands of Islamic State in order to gain the release of the pilot. His father also appealed to the government to save his son's life. A member of Jordan's parliament called the country's association with the U.S.-led coalition fighting against Islamic State a big mistake.
Now the consequences, Jordan is paying it. Hopefully they will release Muad and hopefully that the government would go out and tell us what exactly they're doing regarding this issue.
The pilot's fighter jet crashed in Islamic State-held territory last month. Jordan is one of several Arab countries taking part in the U.S.-led coalition. Alan Buckner, TVB News.
And this just in, Jordan's government says it is ready to swap the Iraqi woman held in Jordan for the Jordanian pilot. And next, bloodshed in the Libyan capital. Gunmen stormed a luxury hotel in Tripoli yesterday, killing 10 people. Some of the dead were foreigners. A Tripoli affiliate of the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the attack. An American, a Frenchman, a Korean and 2 Filipinos were the foreigners killed. 5 Libyan guards also died. And 2 attackers were killed following an hours-long standoff during which a car bomb exploded in the parking lot of the 5-star Corinthia Hotel. It's among the worst acts of violence targeting foreigners in Libya since former leader Muammar Gaddafi was ousted in 2011.
In Europe, an inquiry into the death of a former Russian agent poisoned in London was told the killing was an act of nuclear terrorism. The lawyer for Alexander Litvinenko's widow told the inquiry the KGB spy turned critic of the Kremlin was the victim of an assassination by agents of the Russian state. He said Litvinenko was poisoned not once but twice with radioactive polonium. Litvinenko fell ill after drinking tea with 2 Russian men at a London hotel in November 2006. He died 3 weeks later of acute radiation syndrome. In a deathbed statement, he said he was poisoned on orders from Russian President Vladimir Putin. The case soured relations between London and Moscow for years.
And still to come in our newscast tonight. Concerns about worsening corruption in Hong Kong. Officials in the US left red-faced over the big storm that turned out to be not too bad. And Chelsea in the League Cup final at Liverpool's expense.
Three days of the highest levels of show jumping competition and a prestigious social event where sport, fashion and art come together. Longines presents the Longines Hong Kong Masters 2015. Live February the 13th to the 15th on TVB Pearl, the official host broadcaster.
咪俾睇唔見嘅甲醛破壞你嘅家庭幸福。立邦金裝抗甲醛正味全效，分解有害甲醛，轉化成水分子，仲超級抗菌。金主，捍衛家人健康，我的靈感，我的立邦。
It's obvious which family is better prepared. Protect yourself from mosquito bites while outdoors. Wear light-colored and long-sleeve clothing. Apply mosquito repellent and avoid staying in scrubby areas. Practice good personal protection against mosquito bites to prevent mosquito-borne infections, such as dengue fever and Japanese encephalitis.
Tonight, what do you know about catching art thieves?
Nothing at all. That's why it'll be fun.
You're our roper. You're the muscle. Jane said that you could handle your own wardrobe. Lisbon is playing the inside man. You're the face.
BMWI presents The Mentalist, Season 6 at 10:40 on Pearl. The time now is 7:43. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
Welcome back to TVB News. Hong Kong has been ranked the world's freest economy for the 21st year in a row by a conservative US think tank. But as Rani Samtani reports, the Heritage Foundation has also expressed concerns about corruption.
The 2015 Index of Economic Freedom report compiled by the U.S. think tank looked at 178 economies around the world. Hong Kong finished first for the 21st consecutive year. Its overall score dropped 0.5 points to 89.6 points. Singapore once again came in second with a score of 89.4 points, narrowing the gap with Hong Kong. New Zealand and Australia ranked third and fourth. The foundation said Hong Kong's impressive level of resilience has enabled it to withstand economic challenges, but it noted that the economy's institutional uniqueness has faded a bit. It said recent political events appear to have undermined public trust and confidence in the administration. Hong Kong has continued to dominate the top spot when it comes to business freedom, trade freedom, and financial freedom, but the foundation warns of the problem